All right, it is a couple days later. I have to work, so I had to work. So I've ordered a new impeller for this thing. Uh, we left off. We found out it runs, which is good. Today we're going to work on the pull starter since we have to wait on the impeller to come in. All right, so unfortunately this thing just fell apart when we were trying to take it apart. This piece right here seats into one of these pieces. So this piece is supposed to be in here, and this is kind of like mashed down to catch onto there. Unfortunately, we pulled it through, and because of that, everything just fell out in random orders. Didn't get a chance to see where everything was supposed to go, so I had to look up a diagram, which I found online finally, because it's hard to find the diagrams for these older motors, but I found one. So today we're going to put it back together. I have to see if I can get this nut off of here so that I can get it back together the right way. Didn't have much success with this the other day, but we'll see if we can do that today so we can get it back together. Okay, so after I got this together with my makeshift replacement bolt, I was trying to figure out, man, how in the world do they load the spring on this thing? And I was like, man, the only way to do that is to turn this whole assembly clockwise, but that would only work. So I was like, dang, that must mean that it has to be reverse threaded. Go figure. This thing's reverse threaded. And that's why I couldn't get it off. And so now I'll probably pull this whole thing apart and try to put it back the right way. So we got the pull start back together. It's a little bit of a pain, but we got it. So I'm gonna throw the rest of the pieces back on here, and we'll throw it on the cover. I think I just got a water pump in the mail too, so I'll go grab that and we'll throw the water pump on, and this thing will be done. All right, let's take a look and see what the gear oil looks like, and we'll let that drain out while we're replacing the impeller. Ah, it looks like there's water in there, son of a gun. Well, there's a bunch of water in there, so that's not good. Alright, so there's a bunch of water in there. That's always a bad sign. I didn't actually see any oil in there. What I'm going to do is do a pressure test on this thing. So it looks like the impeller that was in here has completely deteriorated and broke apart. So yeah, it's definitely got a terrible leak. I can't even build up pressure in it. As I'm pumping it, I can see some air bubbles coming out where the water pump is. So the drive shaft seals are clearly bad. All right, now that the key's out, hopefully we can wedge this water pump out of here. Alright, so this is the bottom part of the housing for the water pump. Looks like on the bottom of this is where the oil seal is. I should have one of those, and I also have one of these O-rings here. There's a seal up here as well. Alright, starting to make some progress on it. It's coming a little bit. Let's see, that side's coming out. Let's bang on the opposite side. Got it. Alright, so the old one is out. Let's get this thing cleaned up a little bit, and then we'll put the new one in, put the new O-ring on, and we'll be done with this. I'm going to try to tap this back in as far as I can, as straight as I can, as flat as I can. All right, that looks like it's in all the way. Give it one more tap for good measure. Yeah, that's good. I went ahead and put the water pump back on, and I am now pressure testing. It has been currently 3 minutes. I pumped it up to 10 psi, which is where it's still at right now. Sprayed it down with soap water. I haven't noticed any bubbles so far. Generally speaking, if it can hold 10 psi of pressure for about 5-10 minutes, then you should be good. After I do this test, as long as it holds, I'm going to go ahead and do a vacuum test also. All right, it has been 10 minutes. And it looks like we are still at 10 psi. And I haven't noticed any bubbling, no apparent leaks, so I think we're good to go. Replacing those seals for the dry shaft have solved our problem. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect this. We'll get the prop back on this thing, and let's throw it back on the motor, start it up, and see if we get the water pump is working a little bit better now. We'll start with choke. So I had to shut it down because it wasn't getting any water flow. And I took the lower unit back off. I kind of wanted to make sure that the water tube was lining up with this. And in fact, it wasn't, because I put the housing cover for the water pump on backwards. So this was over here. I've now changed it back over here. I'm going to throw that back on and then put it back inside the motor. And we'll check again and see if that actually makes the water flow like it's supposed to. Okay, we got everything back together. The water tube is all lined up this time. I blew some air up into the water tube to make sure that I got air coming out of the pee hole, and I did. So I think we are going to be good to go. I also fixed the pull starter. One of the teeth, there's 3 teeth on the pull starter that actually grabbed the flywheel. One of those had gotten tucked and was not coming out to grab the flywheel properly, and it was kind of jamming the whole system up. So I think I fixed that also. So let's give it a twirl. All right, we'll start with choke. Oh, sounds like it ran out of fuel. I actually think I'm out of fuel in the gas tank, so that might not be the motor's fault. Yeah. A little bit light on fuel in the gas tank. Oops. Let's see if I can start this with one hand. That'll be a challenge. So we've got good water flow. This is good. I had water coming out here a second ago. There might be some mud or something picked up in there. When I blow it out with air, it works. All right, we bored out that clog that was in the P-hole, adjusted the idle some, running good now. I decided to throw a quick coat of paint on here just to freshen it up some, which turned out pretty decent. I just used, I think it was Rust-Oleum automotive enamel, which I picked up at Lowe's. Threw 2 coats on, and the finish turned out decent.